Are you ready to go on a magical mystery tour? Yep. Are you ready?
Yes.
That's an invitation to make a reservation. It's got everything you need. But you have to accept the invitation, right? To make a reservation, to awaken to who you are. This reservation is on this magical mystery tour called Our Everyday Normal Life. And it's not that being spiritual makes you be all that much different than what you already are, but you begin to see the magic and the wonder and the glory and the miracles that are all around you. When you get on the bus of awakening, and some of us get on the bus kicking and screaming, right? Sometimes we're in the back of the bus. It takes us a long time for us to finally start singing, "Kumbaya, my Lord." But in the end, you will. You don't need to wait any longer to experience what you truly already are, right here and right now. Last week I was here and I told you about my hip and my knee was hurting me. And Maureen wasn't around. She had the car. She was over in Charleston. And so she says to me when I got home from Hawaii, she goes, "Do not ride that motorcycle. It's going to hurt your hip." And I went, "Yeah, sure." So the next morning I wake up. I'm a Harley man. I can ride my motorcycle, and I didn't do something that I probably always should do. Listen to Maureen. She was right. I didn't listen though. I took my leg and it was so sore, and I lifted it up and it was really painful on this 500-pound motorcycle. Bleh, like that, and I went, "Yeah, I'm good. It's okay." Down the road, and I tried to hit the rear brake with my right foot. It was like, oh, that really hurts. So I started only using the front brake to stop. Stupid, what? I can't lean on this leg, so I'm leaning on that leg. I get to the gym, and you need a crane to get me off the motorcycle to get my leg off of it. And of course, I knew that once again, I had to listen to Maureen, who was actually right once again. I should understand these things more clearly. So the next morning, I woke up and I went to Enterprise at the airport, and I got a car. I rented an SUV, Encore SUV. Beautiful car, brand new, hardly any miles on it. And it had a satellite dish radio in it. Anybody know about satellite dish radios? They're amazing. All the world's music there with absolutely no commercial interruptions. And I got hooked on the Beatles station for 2 days of listening to music. And I really realized that the Fab Four were really on to something. That they were on to something that was really powerful, that they may have not even known they were involved with at the time. They were an evangelical beings in the name of St. Paul and George and Ringo and John. They were bringing a New Testament to the world that was part of the magical mystery tour of what we went through. And I went, "Mike, there's so much information in there that I can use." And then the next day, you know how God is. You get a little hint of something, and then I'm always looking for material. Then Michael Bogar, I get this article from a great thinker and a wonderful blog, and in it he describes the Beatles and their 4 phases of their evolution in consciousness as we move from sense to spiritual consciousness. And I went, that is going to preach. And I owe this to Michael Bogar. I'm teaching that to you guys through the great grace of him and adding my own stuff as well too. So the Beatles, do you know where they got their name from? It was part of that time, the 50s and 60s. It was from the Beat generation. Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac, they felt beaten down by society. And so they were reacting to what they felt constricting and confining. And the Beatles, like Jack Kerouac's interpretation, we don't want to just be beaten down, we want to be lifted up. And so they call themselves the Beatles. The Beatles, yeah. Is that cool or what? And each one of them represented a particular part of the dynamic awakening process that was happening for all of us. George said in this amazing quote, if I can get it right, he said, there was something going on through us that was greater than us. There was something doing it. And I can't even put a name to it, but something was doing this through us. And we all, in time, felt that. We all felt that. He was sort of the waning, whining guitar. I really want to see you, Lord, but it takes so long, my love. He reached out to that beloved presence. And Paul was the bubbly, optimistic person inside of all of us. He just felt good about everything. He had this naive optimism about where the baby boomer generations were moving towards. And many of us were having spiritual experiences, getting on the magical mystery tour, well, through many of our own little ways and practices. But we were getting on the bus of awakening that helped us get on the bus and formally call ourselves beings who were ready to awakening. And then you had Ringo, and Ringo was the pure joy beat. He was just joyous. He just was joy. He came in with joy, kind of like me. I am happy some of the time. I'm happy. I have a lot of happiness in me. I don't have to work at being happy. I feel joyous a lot of the time. And that was him. And then there was, so then we got John, and John was sort of the great thinker. So between Paul and John and George and Ringo, we have 4 beings that represent 4 different types of energies and stages of evolution that we all get to, so we can end up seeing that this is a magical mystery tour. And where does it begin? And again, this is in Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, all has this. It starts with stage 1, ego. That sense of separate self. That idea that I go around once in life and I'm going to grab all the gusto I can. It's about me, myself, and I, and that's what it's about. We all have a sense of our ego. You've got to have a strong sense of being somebody before you can be nobody that then becomes everybody. But it starts with a strong sense of personal self. The ego isn't going to go anywhere. And so for me, in my life at that time, and for every one of us, we were identifying with a strong sense of separate personal self that all of us must enter into. There's a show I love called Bravo, called Actors Studio. I may have used this before, forgive me if I have. And in that particular one, he's interviewing Sir Laurence Olivier. And you know James Lipton, he does a great interview. He's got his eyes rolled up and he's asking deep questions. And he goes, so Sir Laurence Olivier, what has been the guiding influence in your life for all the work that you've done, the actors and all the things we've talked about? This audience wants to know what was the thread, the common thread of why you did what you did and did it so well. He slams his hand on the coffee table and he says, look at me, look at me, look at me. And he gets up and he goes, look at me, look at me, look at me. That's all it was ever about. Look at me, look at me, look at me. That's the ego, right? Look at me, look at me, look at me. Look at me. Would you look at this shirt? Look at me. I want. That's what the ego is. It's this sense of separate self. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just part of what is. For the Beatles, it was in their early days, they wore tight leather pants and jackets. And you remember how you used to comb your hair back with the duck thing in the back? I did all of that when I was immolating my tough stage. I had a little brownie knife in the back of my pocket, because when you're a jet, I was so cool and so tough. And it's so fun when I see little boys who are 12 and 13 and 14 who want to be tough. And I'm looking at them going, I hope you get through that stage quickly. I remember going into bathtubs with jeans on and waiting for them to shrink up around me so they could be really, really, really tight. That was the ego. That's that sense of trying to be somebody. And every boy and every being and every woman goes through that sense of developing that personal relationship with your own self. Everybody has to do it. You don't get by that stage. You've got to develop it, and it's got to be really, really, really strong. For the Beatles, in their early days, when most of us didn't know about them, they were playing music, dissonant music, screaming, shouting, yelling, getting in fights. Actually, Paul was arrested for starting a fire in a hotel room above a porn shop. I mean, they were bad. They were really playing out separate egoic self to the max. And you know what? Everybody has to have their time wandering away as the prodigal son. For me, in my life before Maureen, and I don't have many years and stories to tell about that, I was 20 years old. I'd abandoned my family's business, and I was on my own. I was getting no money from home. I was driving some sort of delivery truck. And I'd married this woman. We only lasted 7 months. We got it annulled. It turned out she was having relationships with everybody who I knew at that time, over drinking, doing all kinds of crazy things to my body. And it got to a particular point where I was actually lying in bed with a .38 police caliber gun by my bed that someone left at my house overnight so I could keep it for him. And I was not suicidal, but I was at the end of my rope of what one can do with me, myself, and I. I needed help. And for me, the help, I need somebody, not just anybody, the help actually came in one last of those sort of out-of-body psychotropic experiences. And what happened for me was a part of whoever I truly am, that self, it jumped out and it talked to me for 12 hours. And it said, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to end up where you're headed, and you're going to lose the spacesuit called your body, called Richard. And after that 12 hours was up, I got up and I started cleaning up my act. I started running, I started exercising at 21 years old. At 21 years old, before I met Maureen, and I stopped smoking cigarettes. The help came. For the Beatles, the help came in the form of Brian Epstein. You remember Brian Epstein? He was the help that they needed. He goes, guys, you guys are very talented. You keep doing what you're doing, you're never going to get out of bars and brawls in Liverpool. You need to get it together. You need to get your life together. And so we see the Beatles conforming and becoming four beings that looked exactly alike. Do you remember the outfit? That was the conforming time for them, to conform to a picture of what it should look like. And they sang songs like, she loves you, yeah, yeah, I want to hold your hand, all about love songs, and that's when they became incredibly popular. There's a moment in my life that I only have a few regrets and I can't forgive myself for, and this one was one of them. We actually my dad had a boat at the World's Fair Marina, where Shea Stadium was. And I had a pass. My dad was a businessman to go back and forth in and out of the World's Fair Marina anytime I wanted to. And the night the Beatles were playing, all I had to do was show my pass. And I could have walked right in to the stadium. And for some unknown, ridiculously stupid reason, I didn't go. I sat on the aft end of the boat and listened to the Beatles in that monumental moment, playing their music. I could hear the lyrics, we were so close to it. And I missed that moment. And I'm still wondering if I'll get another chance next lifetime. But I let that particular thing go. I'm almost through. But that moment in time where the Beatles conformed, we all have times when we do that, right? We have an egoic collapse of the plan that isn't working, and then we try, well, let me do what I'm supposed to do. Well, be a plastic salesman, Dora May Company, that's what you should do. So I tried that on, I went back to school, I met my wife Maureen, and we went off to be plastic salesmen in Chicago. It's like, boy, did that not fit. And both of us at the same time we got to get out of this. So we were in what the Beatles were, the non-conformist stage, and we became hippies. Here we are. Show the hippie picture. Look at that, is that cute or what? That's Maureen over there to the right. That's Maura. Maura's now, what, 46? And then on top of my head, there's my daughter who's now 37, that's Alethea. And we were brand new fresh hippies, not old worn out hippies like last week, but fresh new, brand new hippies. And we went to go live on the farm with a guy who was from the Beat generation, Stephen Gaskin. And we walked out of the doorway of what we've been doing to enter into something very deep and different. And though there were still substances outwardly involved, we were already engaging on the path of inner awakening and teachings. The Beatles did that too. They went and saw the Maharishi, and they went and saw all these different teachers. George went to India. The songs started to talk about the dismantling of the old social order. Do you remember how crazy the days were then? People think things are crazy now. We put the TV set on, and there was wars going on in the streets. It was completely nuts between Vietnam and civil unrest and everything that was going on. It was a time of tremendous turmoil, but it was also a time of tremendous potential. Do you hear the two connected? Times of tremendous turmoil are also times of tremendous potential for amazing breakthroughs. And many of us had those breakthroughs. If you look at this picture, you'll see I can't point it out because it's too blurry, but Paramahansa Yogananda is on that, Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess, is on that, Sigmund Freud is there. They're all the different people that we begin to connect with who talk to us about the journey of authentic awakening. And the Beatles really went on that journey. They walked across, remember that picture of the four of them walking out of Abbey Road, the studios? They left their world behind. They were literally at the peak of what they were doing, but it wasn't serving them anymore, so that they walked away. They looked for help elsewhere rather than through their career. And then they walked out the door, as many of us do. And then they entered into the next stage, which is all of what we come to, which is the story of where we begin to sing the song, "When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be. Be who you are. Love who you are. And then what happens is the album cover of your life changes, and from being this little box, and I'm going to be a businessman, I'm going to be straight and strict, I'm going to sing love songs, goes into, I'm going to tear everything apart, everything is falling apart, to where it comes back to the third stage where you enter into the spiritual practices, begin to learn some traditions and practices that will help you evolve and awaken, and finally you come back to yourself. John said, I don't believe in anything other than my relationship with myself. I don't even believe in Beatles anymore. I believe in me. Remember that line? Yoko and me. It comes back to loving yourself over and over and over again. Until you love the self that you are, you can't love the self that you truly are. And so it comes back to the very beginning, where we're back on the bus of awakening again. When we were in India, our teachers and guides the first time we were there said that everyone who's here on earth right now is on the bus of awakening. Everyone. If you think you're more advanced than someone else, you are not. If you're here, you're still a bozo on the bus. You're no better or no worse than anyone, Democrat or Republican, Christian, Hindu, or Jew. Everybody is going to awaken because everybody's already awake. So you get a seat on this wonderful bus of awakening. You either come and kicking and screaming, or you wait till you die, but you end up back on the bus, and you sit by, as we all do, a window seat. It's got your name on it. Reserved for Richard H. Levy. Take your seat here, or whatever your name is, and you sit down, and you look out the window, and you perceive what you see through the senses, through the thoughts, the words, the deeds, and the habit patterns that become the filter through which you see everything. You don't see things as they are, you see them as you are. Always. And so you're there and you're looking out the window, and if you ask 50 people sitting on a bus with a window seat what they're seeing, they'll all look at the same scenery and tell you something completely different. We all do that. So the teachings help you see through a glass darkly, help you clean up the window of your own soul so you can see through the world through the eyes of spirit. That's what we're doing here. There's a story that I've read that someone sent me about this couple who went to this new house, and they were having breakfast at their house, sitting by the little breakfast nook, and they're looking out the window, and the woman across the way is hanging her laundry on the line. And the wife says, she doesn't know how to do her wash. Her wash is filthy. Either she doesn't know about good laundry detergent, or her machine is broken, but her stuff's dirty. And the husband went, yeah, you're right, it is. And about a week later, the same thing happened. She once again, notices her neighbor's dirty laundry. Ever notice your neighbor's dirty laundry? It's always easy to notice your neighbor's dirty laundry and not your own, right? And so she noticed it again. Oh, there it is again. That dirty laundry. It's amazing how nothing can bother you so much. What difference does it make? The next week, when the laundry was done, they sat down and the wife went, oh, wow, she must have got new detergent or learned how to use her washing machine or got it fixed. And the husband said, no, before you woke up this morning, honey, I just went over to our window and I cleaned it. I cleaned up, and by the way, this is cleanliness next to godliness. This is good stuff. No toxic fumes from Trader Joe's. God bless them. You clean up your own window. Everything is about cleaning up your own window. And so you can begin to see things, not as your ego has made it up, but you can see things as they are. You can see things face to face, as Paul says. And then when you face that and see that, you realize everything couldn't be any more perfect than it already is. And that all the teachings and all the practices are cosmic window cleaners to help you get your act clean. Never mind having a master's degree on someone else's dirty laundry. Work on cleaning up your own. And that's the best thing you can do for everybody. And then you can see things clearly. And then you're on the magical mystery tour. And you've got the gift of awakening that these teachings can bring you. And you're cleaning up your own act, not worrying about everybody else's. And that's what the Beatles did. They didn't want to get back together again and be who they were. They'd become individuals, made in the image and likeness of God. Each one of them a unique being. You don't get globby and big and huge and then end up being just like everybody else. When you become more awake to who you are, you become more of an individual, not less. And it integrates your ego consciousness, chakras 1, 2, and 3 to 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you become a vehicle and channel that can help others. So are you ready to get on the bus of awakening? Come on, tell me now.
Yes.
You wouldn't be in this room if you weren't ready to do that. I know you're ready. And so we have, every week, we give you different kinds of window cleaners Paul will teach it to you, I'll teach it to you. It'll be Vipassana meditation, it'll be oneness miracles, it'll be whatever you need. We'll give you the window cleaner to shine it up for times I need this, times I need that. When you get your window clean, you'll begin to see things as they truly are. And then blessings start to happen for you all over the planet. And then you begin to understand what the lesson summation means. Here it is. Let's see it again. Roll up for the magical mystery tour. Step right this way. Step right this way. Roll up. And that's an invitation. Roll up to make a reservation. The magical mystery tour is always waiting to take you away. Waiting to take you away. Roll up for the mystery tour. Roll up got everything you need. Because everything you need is what you already are. It's all right here. When you are enough, then the world becomes a reflection of enough. Roll up, satisfaction's guaranteed. Just a glimpse of it. We come here every week and we go, a moment of feeling like, I got it. It's enough to carry me through till Wednesday. And I got to come back for a blessing. That magical mystery tour, hoping to take you away. It's waiting. It's also hoping. God is reaching out to you. Next one. Roll up for the mystery tour. Roll up, and that's the invitation to make that reservation. The magical mystery tour is coming to take you away. The magical mystery tour is dying to take you away. Dying to take you away today. And you don't have to do what most of us do. Die to get awake again. You don't need to do that. You don't need to go through the doorway of the magical mystery tour to get once again, I forgot what it was all about. You don't need to die to get there. You're already coming from there. There's a seat with your name on it. Take that seat. Sit down, spine straight but not stiff, and begin to look and see things as they truly are. And the world will rearrange and change around you, not because circumstances will always go your way, but because you'll be seeing things as they truly are. That's the magical mystery tour that ends with your awakening and begins with your practice. Do it well, my friends. Do it deeply. It isn't just for you, but it is for the benefit of all beings. And then you'll make any kind of decision you need to make about what your life looks like now. One quick ending story. I'm going to sell my Harley Davidson. Oh, isn't that terrible? I got it, and it seemed like the right vehicle at the right time for my illumination. It seemed like boom, boom, boom. The truth is, I'm really not boom, boom, boom anymore. I would like to think I'm boom, boom, boom. But I'm really more like, And so I'm going to take the $4,000, $5,000 that I'll get from the bike, because I really got the bike, so Moy and I would do all this touring and see all of North Carolina, spend more time together, and maybe build a porch on the back of the house, in our place with a fan. Keep the bugs out. We'll play cards together. That's who I am now. You see what happens? The magical mystery tour doesn't mean you stay in the same vehicle. It means you're willing to change and say, I'm done with that, and now I'm ready to go here. And then when I'm done with that, I'll go here. And then when I'm done with my body, I'll let that go as well, too. That's the work that we're doing. That's the practice. That's why we're here. Again, enjoy your practice. Namaste.